Yeah, hi, good evening everyone. So, my very purpose, this talk is going to be a very special talk for me because though talking to thousands of youth across the nation, but this talk is special because of a very special reason. Today I am going to share my journey from being ordinary to less ordinary, which certainly I never realized is less ordinary. But a lot of people across the nation when I have been traveling, so I always got to know that always people ask me that, sir, how you have been able to manage to do so many things. I never realized it that I am doing so many things. But then certainly when I just try to drill it down, and certainly I just had an analysis that what people are actually looking for, then I finally came to this consensus that what people see as an ordinary or what they look as a less ordinary is something which I already have in me. So my today's journey would be my journey from being ordinary to less ordinary, and this is the very first time I will be sharing my journey right from the beginning, how it started and how I have been able to come to a point what I am actually doing now. So it all started from a time when I have been, obviously, school days are the wonderful days for everyone. And for me also, I had a wonderful school days, and for me in school days, I have been a very exuberant, but a person without any goal, without any mission, but one thing very clear in mind, that I need to do something less ordinary and I cannot settle down with something ordinary. जिंदगी में कुछ ऐसा करना है ना जाने कैसा. Something less ordinary is required. But what it has to be, I was never clear about that. So I certainly started, and aero modeling was something which was always I loved to do in my school time, and I was into. So flying was something, aircrafts were something which always amused me like anything. So I was damn passionate about fighter planes specifically. So certainly when I realized that I want to do something less ordinary, and certainly I actually don't know that what it is, I thought it might be flying only. So I thought of, okay, let me get into flying, and I want to become a fighter pilot in Indian Air Force. So I started my journey from there, and in school days I was not like this. So certainly I would like to say this is what I was in school days. That was the very first. I was a very chubby and a very you can say 110 kgs guy, and I started my journey from that particular point. I went for my NDA because when you think of getting into Indian Armed Forces, so NDA is the only choice through which you can get into Armed Forces. Certainly I started doing for it, and when I very first time went into my NDA, I was certainly able to crack my written exam. Now in this particular talk, I would specifically like to mention that I would going to share a very important code and a key which I have been able to discover certainly, which is the key to become less ordinary in your life, irrespective of the fact you go for any dimension you want to go with. Be it ever any dimension, technology, you love to be a singer, you love to be a dancer, you love to be anything. So NDA was something which was the option. I cleared my written exam, and after clearing my written exam, I certainly got a call from SSB. So there is a procedure to get into Indian Armed Forces. So Service Selection Board was something, the interview process that you have to get through. Now the very first day I landed in the SSB, so it is always considered right from the beginning that it is a very, very tough exam. So there were 160 candidates from 27 states of India, and out of all those 160, I was one of them. The most unique part about me was that everyone in the forces was there and they were completely fit. I was only 100 plus kg guy standing over there. And lot of people, they created a joke that, yeah, look, what kind of people are coming for Indian Armed Forces to become officer. See, this is a joke. After listening them, I felt very bad also, and I thought, okay, let's see, we'll give it our best and we'll just make it happen. Certainly the overall procedure went, so it's a 6 days exam where they're going to scan your personality right from head to toe. And they have a very, very particular stringent process. So after 6 days, they will going to announce the results in a very formal protocol that is called as a conference. So in conference, they'll call the names one by one by one. And out of those 160 candidates, only 5 got selected. And certainly, I was one of them. So, after getting the recommendation, the next process is written, SSB, and then the medical. So then came the medical part. So I was sent for the medical to AFCME, that is in Subrato Park. So there I came for a medical and I got temporary rejection because according to my body mass index and my height, the expected weight was to 75 kgs and I was somewhere around 9900 kgs. So I took it as a challenge, and after taking that particular thing as a challenge, in 2 months I was able to reshape myself and I was able to reduce it to 75 kgs. And after 2 months, I got the medical clearance, but certainly I got unfit for Indian Air Force. Got the joining instructions for Indian Army because I was detected 0.25 myopia. I was very clear. It's all about fighter planes, no army, nothing. So I'll go for fighter planes only. I said, leave it. Next time, I had 2 chances as per my birth date and the age group. Second chance, 122 NDA, again same process after 6 months. Written clear, this time 180 candidates, out of 183 got selected, again I got recommended. Again I went through medical, but this time I was already fit. Again joining instruction for Indian Army, again they said you again have 0.25 myopia. I'm sorry, Indian Air Force is no. So I took a call that this is not what I have to go for army, I will leave. But with this success and failure, which is a blend of both, I was able to decode the first key of the whole success key which I am going to give you here. So that key is CKC. So out of that CKC, I was able to detect the first code, and that was first C, and that is clarity. Right from the beginning, I certainly realized after my clearing this SSB and getting rejected for Air Force that there has been a fundamental problem, the root problem right from our schooling and birth, due to which we are not able to channelize ourselves. When I was going for the SSB and when I was 110 kgs, so at that time, lot of my well-wishers, they told me, yeah, please, you don't worry, just be confident, go, kuch nahi hota, don't worry. So I said, okay, I'll go. But at that day, I realized that right from my school, my parents, everyone has been telling me, be confident. I realized confidence is the biggest disaster in the world. It's the biggest disaster. Because what actually is required is a clarity, because confidence is a byproduct of it. It's just like you are a very good driver, driving from last 10 years, and suddenly today you just pick up your car and your windshield is dusty. And you say, I will drive the car and accident won't happen. So it won't happen. It will happen. And if I ask you why it happened, you have a 10 years of experience, you will certainly say, my dear friend, my windshield is dusty, my dear. How I'll be able to see through it? So at that day, I discovered it's never about confidence and it's all about clarity. And from that day, I made it a goal. Whatever I'll be doing in my life, anyone tells me anything, my teachers, my parents, my gurus, my friends, I will just seek one thing, clarity. भाई समझा दे क्यों, कैसे, कहाँ, or certainly I'll understand. And that clarity became the reason for lot many things in my improvement, which I certainly didn't have in me. I was one of the very bad speaker and having a disastrous communication skills, if you ask me, in my 10+2. And my sister, she is having a fantabulous comm skills. She has been always telling me, "Bhaiya, Angrezi improve kar le yaar, please speak properly." But after that particular clarity, it was just a child's play for me. Why? Because before that, people have been telling me, "Ki bhai, English improve karni hai, read newspaper, read this." I realized that day, English or any language cannot be learned, it has to be adapted. If you are from any regional language, a Punjabi or a Haryanvi, or you are from any state, certainly have you learned that language right from your beginning? It was just that you were in that surrounding and you adapted it. With this clarity, I certainly realized it's all about adaptation. And certainly I was able to adapt in college, participating in a lot of things, and certainly I was able to adapt. So that was the first C I was able to discover. So then my journey started, and the journey of doing something less ordinary, as I rightly said. Clarity was there, so I said, now I have to let me get into entrepreneurship and I'll start my entrepreneurial career as an entrepreneur. So certainly by chance, I did engineering for my mother. So I always told her, okay, I'll certainly do engineering, I'll keep your wish, but I'll apply my mind. So I certainly did the engineering for her. So I started my entrepreneurial career right from the beginning of the second year. So I started my small company in second year, and it was a very small firm. So in the beginning, you are the director, you are the peon, you are the manager, and you are everything. And certainly I was also at that time. So I started, and everything was going. We were into software making and everything, and we were like, I was the only one who was doing everything. When all this was happening, certainly I was able to do many other things. My passion of flying fighter planes is still yet not fulfilled, but yes, I was able to crack into the air wing, and I represented Delhi at across all the India as a cadet warrant officer, and I have been flying for 2 years microlight Zen Stall 701. So it is a microlight. So I always dreamt of flying fighter plane, which I have not been able to do it as of now. But certainly that was something like I thought, okay, let me do it, because I had a passion for flying, and I'm still having it. So I started my entrepreneurial journey, everything was going fine. And one day, one event within my college gave me a learning to crack the second. So what was that event? Let me tell you. You people will laugh on that. So it is a series of events. So there's I met one senior from third year, and we were having a practical in lab. So everyone, everyone, they never do a practical, so everyone has a habit to copy the practical from a pen drive. So one will say, okay, pass the pen drive. So that person, he was copying something from the pen drive, certainly, and after copying the pen drive, I asked him, please give me the pen drive, eject it and give it to me. So he ejected the pen drive, and then he was sitting like this. So I said, what happened? Give me the pen drive. He said, I have ejected and I am just waiting that it will come out. Then second thing happened, same day, in the second half, one of the girls, she came and she said, my laptop is not working properly and the window is corrupted. I'm not able to judge what I have to do. So I said, please go and install a window. She said, I don't know how to do it. I said, what you are doing in computer science engineering, if you don't know how to install our windows, certainly. But these two incidents, yet humorous incident, but gave me a very, very good knowledge and a very good important learning to crack the second thing. And that is the second K. And that K is hunt for knowledge, just don't hunt for something which is just given to you. So there is a difference between information and knowledge. to what we call parents, society as intelligent is not actually intelligent, because it is all information gathering which is happening. So right now what happens, certainly a 10th class, 12th class guy or a girl who is able to grab so many things, and then certainly if a test is taken and they score 90 marks, we say he or she is very intelligent. The fact is they are a good information accumulator. They are not knowledgeable. At that day, I learned what knowledge means. Knowledge is all about manifesting what you have learned. Until and unless you have not manifested something, it is not called as a knowledge. I have read something, be it ever technology, be it ever sports, be it ever anything. If it is yet not in my experience, it is not knowledge. And at that day, I made it my principle that I will only going to share things with people only when I will manifest it, otherwise I won't it. ज्ञान तब बांटूंगा जब हाथ जलाया होगा, नहीं तो ज्ञान बांटूंगा ही. I'll prefer to stay mum. And in our India, this is a problem that you will get lot many people who will spread you, give you so-called knowledge. मतलब आपको पड़ोसी वाले अंकल बता देंगे डॉक्टर कैसे बनना है और उनका खुद बच्चा गलियों में घूम रहा हो. That's how it happens in India. Certainly. So there I was able to crack the second K. So things went like this, and lot of things happened with me within this time period, and I was already, because I cracked NDA twice, SSB, so a lot of youth was coming to me, a lot of juniors also, just to seek the guidance, because they certainly realized there was a very low success rate, so they always seeking guidance that what exactly is there. So I certainly felt that there is a thirst, and the thirst is, it is all about them, because of the myths, they are not able to crack it. So I suddenly said, okay, let me do it. Just without any intention, without any motive, I said, okay, let me start a public portal and let me spread this knowledge across the nation. So I started my very first public portal in the second year onwards and started giving free knowledge over there that how to crack this. Suddenly it went so big that at the end of the fourth year, I got a call from an international publisher, Pearson, that sir, we are looking for a book from your side on how to crack SSB. I said, I was very happy. At first, I was not able to realize that what they are asking for. So I said, "Okay, sir, I'll give it to you." Then I realized, okay, I'll give it to you, and I said, okay, give me 2 days time, I'll tell you when I can give you. So I took 6 months to submit the manuscript. First deadline crossed. He called me up. I said, I'm so sorry, I'm not able to do it. I again took 3 more months. Second timeline again crossed. I was a failure. Again he called me up. I said, sir, I need last 3 months. And last 3 months also I was not able to do it. And after that I got so embarrassed. I didn't have the courage to call him up. So certainly he didn't call me. I didn't call him. I simply got his friend request on my FB. And I simply accepted it. Quite. And everything what I wrote at that time was lying one-sided in my computer. I thought we'll see to it. Because what happens is when you are starting and when you are in the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, there are lot many things and lot many energy that you have to put in. So I was putting up all that energy. So 4th year, everything got done and we completed the college, and I was building the company and building up the team in the initial stages is a very big task, which I was certainly into. So we were majorly into technology, and after 4th year, that is in 2013, I stepped up into digital also, the digital marketing as well, and I started doing everything and building up the team. So by the time in 2015, I was at a decent stage and was able to build a good team with a good leaders, because I certainly realized it is never you who determines the winning. It is always a great team which determines the winning. And in 2015, things happened so intuitively with me. And this 2015, I was able to crack the third code, third C. What happened is, one day I was sitting and just a thought came, the mission which I left at that particular time, the book, let me complete it now. I have now time to get it done. And why this thing came to me, because right from my beginning, I had a very strong learning from my father, and the learning was It's better you do 10 things, you become a multi-passionate entrepreneur or versatile person, but it's better if you initiate something, don't leave it. Or if you initiate multiple things, please always see that the last thing must not get compromised. So I thought, let me complete that mission also. I thought of this, and after 1 week, I suddenly got a call from one of the international publishing house again, and they told me that we want to meet me. They got a reference from one of the renowned authors from me, and I said, okay. I didn't even aware of that why they want to meet me. So after a week, I went to their place, and suddenly we had a meeting, and suddenly they said that we are looking for a book, and that's how it started. And I said, okay, I'll give it to you, and in 3 months, I gave the book finally. And there I was able to crack the third C, and that third C was conviction. If you want to do anything, you have to be convicted. You must believe and do what you really want to do. And this CKC was the reason what I have been able to do and what I am doing right now. So with this CKC, I would going to leave this as a success code with all of you, because coming here, my intention is just that if I can mobilize one mind sitting over here, my TED talk would be successful for me. That's the motive and the mission with which I have come here. Thank you so very much. And it is my wish and Almighty's blessing that you all must transcend from being ordinary to less ordinary. Thank you for your love and support, and I really love you all. Thanks. Bye.